The Democrat candidate for Attorney General in Arizona said, oh, well, this would be against the will of Arizonans. It's like, wait a second. The Supreme Court is telling you that if the will of the people of Arizona is to have unlimited abortion, all they have to do is go to their legislators and persuade them to pass that law. What are these people? Why are these people staking out a position of lawlessness? I'm not going to fulfill my duty enforcing the law. No, if the people of Arizona don't like the law, they can change the law.
And now to the pro-life movement. While America waits to find out how the Supreme Court will vote on abortion, some decision makers in states that have liberal views of abortion rights are already plotting to construct workarounds if abortion restrictions tighten up. Father Frank Pavone is one of the country's leading anti-abortion leaders, and we spoke with him earlier from his headquarters in Florida. Father Frank, always good to see you.
Good to see you, Doug.
Let me read from the Wall Street Journal about this particular issue, quoting, "District attorneys in metropolitan areas, including Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, and San Antonio, have said they will not prosecute abortion providers or others, including those who assist a woman in obtaining the procedure. Current state attorneys general who are up for re-election in Michigan and Wisconsin, as well as Democratic candidates for offices in Georgia and Arizona, have likewise pledged not to enforce any laws banning abortion in the states." Sounds like you got a fight on your hands, regardless of what the Supreme Court does.
Well, Doug, actually, it's a fight that we've been engaged in already because this is the playbook of the abortion lobby. They do not respect the law. There are plenty of laws in place regulating abortion. And yet, the work we have done for over 30 years investigating the abortion industry shows, for example, let me give you just one example. They will coach young girls who come to them who have been impregnated by adults as to how to avoid the mandatory reporting laws that require them to tell the authorities about statutory rape or suspected sexual abuse. And so they don't care about the law. We've had a study of some 300 abortion facilities between 2008 and 2020, uncovering over 2,400 violations, health and safety deficiencies. Now, these are existing laws requiring staff to be trained and medications not to be expired and emergency equipment to be present and working, and yet they don't care. The Gosnell case in Philadelphia, you remember the notorious abortionist, he's now in prison for life. But the Pennsylvania Department of Health and Department of State, both of those departments failed to prevent this abortionist from killing a woman and killing countless babies beyond the statutory limit in Pennsylvania simply for political reasons. They did not inspect his facility and they ignored complaints. So when these district attorneys, when these candidates for attorneys general start telling us, oh, we're not going to enforce, the law if they change the law on abortion, this is the abortion lobby speaking. They're not enforcing the laws that are there now. And it's time for the American people to recognize that these are lawless people, and we've got to deal with that appropriately. The law should be respected, and it should be enforced.
The counter argument to that is that if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, it looks like it's going to become a states' rights issue. So in effect, the liberal states are going to have their way with abortion, right?
This is why it's so curious to see the reaction of these people. Like in that Wall Street Journal article that we both saw, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General in Arizona said, oh, well, this would be against the will of Arizonans. It's like, wait a second. The Supreme Court is telling you that if the will of the people of Arizona is to have unlimited abortion, all they have to do is go to their legislators and persuade them to pass that law. What are these people? Why are these people staking out a position of lawlessness? I'm not going to fulfill my duty enforcing the law. No, if the people of Arizona don't like the law, they can change the law. And as you're saying, Doug, the Supreme Court is not imposing a policy. In fact, the draft decision from Justice Alito was saying precisely the opposite. The court is not the place for these policy disputes to be decided. It's the legislatures. But the other side, and you see them carrying on here with temper tantrums in these protests, some of which are illegal, by the way, when they go to the homes of the justices. The reason they're behaving this way is that they were handed abortion on demand on a silver platter. They didn't have to go through the process that mature Americans engage with persuasion, lobbying, lawmaking. No, they were just given it as a constitutional right. Now they see it taken away and they throw a tantrum. Why don't they learn how to lobby their lawmakers and engage in the process by which America has made laws for 2.5 centuries?
Father Frank, this is a schism which exists not in just society writ large, but also within the Catholic Church, where you had the Archbishop of San Francisco saying that Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who claims to be a devout Catholic, a pro-abortion Catholic, should be denied communion. And then we had this little tidbit of information stemming from that, from the Washington Examiner, which reached out to the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. for comment on that act by the Archbishop of San Francisco. And the Archbishop of Washington's office apparently sent the Examiner an internal email that was never intended to escape. And it said, just sharing this knowledge with you, email since Saturday, when I last checked, the comms inbox had just been a couple of random people wanting to tell the Cardinal to bring down the hammer on Pelosi. Aside from Jack Jenkins at RNS, this is the only news media inquiry. It will be ignored. I mean, the Archdiocese of Washington doesn't want to step into this mess.
And, we, of course, our ministry is called Priests for Life. And so a lot of people come to me and they say, why aren't our priests responding to these Catholic pro-abortion politicians? We want strong leadership. And that's why our ministry has been flourishing. We provide some things to say and things to do. But too many leaders in the church are weak. Catholics are tired of that, just like they're tired of weak leadership in the political arena. And what Archbishop Cordileone is doing is completely consistent with church law. As a matter of fact, it's Nancy Pelosi who's depriving herself of the right to receive communion because she's out of communion with the teaching of the church on a very, very basic matter. So he's doing this out of concern for her, but also out of concern. Think about all the Catholics who are making sacrifices every day, and not just Catholics, but all the believers in Christ and in God. We make sacrifices in our lives to live up to the faith. And here you got somebody trying to get the political benefit of identifying as a Catholic while throwing the teachings of the Catholic Church out the window. It's about time that somebody steps up to the plate with leadership and says, sorry, but you've put yourself in this situation. You cannot be admitted to communion.
The unwavering Father Frank Pavone, he stands on a rock, doesn't he? Father Frank, we always appreciate your perspective. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.